What's up, everybody? So we're out in the shop with another Shop Talk Tuesday. Now, if you're new to this video series, what this is all about is a commentary-based type thing where I talk about relevant things for knife making and other things that I do. Now, today we're going to end up talking about acid etching. Not just acid etching, but etching in general. Within my experience with etching and the different types of ways that I do it and things like that. Then we also talk about what we have working in the background that's going to be making it into the YouTube videos or maybe not. Then we go into a viewer's knife section where I show off a viewer's knife, which is a pretty cool section where y'all get to actually check out someone's submission for the viewer's knife section of these videos. And we go from there. Now, guys, when it comes to acid etching, let's go ahead and jump into that part. Now, I only etch a few different ways. I do acid etching with a ferric chloride mixture, and I'll talk about that here in a second. And then I also do a mustard etch, which I'm going to show you a couple of examples for that. By a couple, I mean the example that I actually did. Yeah, we'll go with that. Now, also, I'm going to talk about how I etch my maker's mark into the knives. But let's start off with acid etching. I got my ferric chloride from Radio Shack, which a lot of people think that Radio Shack is closed, and it pretty much is brick and mortar. I think there might be a couple here and there sprinkled out through America, but for the most part, they are a primarily online store now. So you can go to radioshack.com and order ferric chloric acid. It's pretty simple, and what I'll do is I'll leave a link for that in the description below, so if you need to go get you some ferric chloric acid, you can do that. It's not an affiliate link or anything like that. I get no kickbacks from it. That is just a link to be able to go to there, order acid. It's pretty simple. Now, for my mixture, I typically have them in these little containers like this. This is just a marine like fuel mixer for boats and things like that. You can get them from Walmart. And I put the mixture in there, and what my mixture is 50% ferric chloride to 50% distilled water, and that's what I go with. It's a mixture that I'm comfortable with and that I like. Now, when it comes to the ferric chloric mixture and all that stuff, you want to make sure it's warm. You want it to be heated up a little bit before you actually use it, and I do that with my mixture. I make sure that typically it's about 80 to 90 degrees whenever I use it. Some people make them warmer than that, some people just leave them how they are, but that's the temperature that I like my mixture to get the etching that I've achieved on my knives. Now, when it comes to utilizing that mixture, I'm going to show y'all a picture right here. So this is one of my knives that has been etched by that mixture. Really awesome. And then there's another one right here. This is another one that I've used that mixture on to get this darkness. So you got those. Those are a couple of examples for that. Now, pretty much what I do whenever I'm doing my acid dipping, it's going to be about 20 minutes per dip. And what I do is I put it in the acid, or the blade in the acid, for 20 minutes, let it sit for 20 minutes, and then I'll pull it out, I'll clean it off, and just water with either just my gloves, or maybe I'll use steel wool or something like that. And then it goes back in the acid for another 20 minutes, take it out, clean it, and if I like that color that's on there, that darkness, I'll leave it at that. And sometimes I'll just leave it, or I will go ahead and stone wash it. I use just real simple aquarium rocks inside one of these little fuel mixers again, and I shake it around, do all that stuff, and that's what I use for my stone washing. Now, when it comes to the real dark finishes that I get, I'll go through, clean it, and then do a third dip for 20 minutes, and that typically gives me a real dark finish, and I leave it at that. You know, you want to make sure that you're using some baking soda to neutralize the acid afterwards, because if you don't, it'll be real susceptible to rust. So the knife itself will have a chance to start rusting because of all the acid and everything that's on it being able to make that corrosion happen more and more and more. Now, that's why we go ahead, we clean them. Distilled water is what I use, and then I also use baking soda. That just makes sure that everything's neutralized and it doesn't keep eating into the steel. It doesn't rust as easy. And then I'll go ahead and coat them with WD-40 or mineral oil to make sure, again, that they are not as susceptible to rust after that process. Now, we've got other ways to etch things other than just ferrochloric acid. We'll use mustard. That was one that I just started doing here relatively, soon, or in the past, not very far back. And I'm going to give y'all an example right here. Bop. This right here was my first time mustard etching a knife, and this was the results right here. Absolutely love this. It's kind of tiger striped or clownfish or however you want to call it. That one turned out awesome, and I've got a couple that I'm working on right now to also do that etch on. Absolutely love it. I'm going to do a few different patterns. I'm going to try some Hamon style stuff. We're just going to see how it goes, but really, really love the way those are turning out. And all I'm doing on that is I am leaving or putting the mustard on there in whatever pattern I want, and then I'm leaving it on there for an hour. Now, the trick to this is whichever side you're not mustard etching at that time, go ahead and tape off completely so that it doesn't let it etch around to the back side, because you will have to clean that side all up again and it will etch into it. So you will need to really go after it with a surface conditioning belt, like a Scotch-Brite belt or something like that, to get the finish back to where you want it, or you're going to have to sit there and hand sand it all the way back to where you want it. So just tape off the side that you don't want mustard etched, or what you can do is you can go ahead, hold the blade, get the mustard on both sides to where you like it, exactly how you want it, and then put the handle in a vise so that it can just sit there with the mustard on it on both sides, and it will etch exactly how you want it to etch. So that is another way that you can do it if you don't want to tape the back side and then end up etching that again. Now I will tell you, if you tape the back side, whenever you take the tape off and put the mustard on that side, you need to make sure that the side that you already etched is taped off, because it will mess up that side if you don't do that. So again, I leave it on there for an hour, and that seems to do the trick on how I want it. So there you go. That's how you would mustard etch. And I will tell you, it doesn't really matter what brand of mustard you use. I like the yellow mustard. I think that has turned out real well. The thing that you're looking for is vinegar in the mustard, because that's what's going to make the little chemical reaction, and that's what's really going to etch it for you. So that's what you're looking for. And you can use French's mustard, you can use whatever mustard, maybe some Grey Poupon if it's got the right chemicals in it, but that's what you would do on that. Now, when it comes to etching my maker's mark into knives, what I end up doing, and you've seen me do this on a few different videos, I will tape off the little section that I'll basically put a box around where the logo is going to be, my maker's mark, and then I'll use fingernail polish and fill in where the square is. So basically I tape all the excess off and it leaves me a square of bare steel showing. I'll use fingernail polish and I'll cover that square, and then I'll go ahead and once it's dried just a little bit, I'll draw my maker's mark on there. And if you didn't know this, every single maker's mark that I put on the knives are all unique because I do them all by hand. I don't have a stencil. I draw my maker's mark on every single knife that I do. It's just a personal preference. Eventually I might get stencils or something like that, but I think it just adds a little extra something whenever you get my actual signature on each one. Each one of them is unique. Each one of them is an actual thing that I do by hand personally. And I think that adds just a little extra something to it. So I like doing that for y'all, so that each one of y'all gets something that's individual and that's custom. Even if it's something that I made 3 of, you still have that individuality on all of them, that uniqueness. So something that I like to do. Now, I just put it on there, and then I'll take vinegar and salt, mix it into a little container, kind of like this right here. This is a vinegar and salt solution, and then I will take and dip a Q-tip in there. I've got videos on how I do that process, but it's all about just going in there and dipping the Q-tip with the actual thing that I use to, it's just a battery charger thing that I use to do the acid etching, but the chemical that I'm using that's making this work, and that's what I want to talk about, is the vinegar and salt solution. That is key. If you don't have that solution, it's not going to etch. No matter how much you try it with the battery charger, Q-tips, whatever, you got to have that mixture. And what I'll typically do is about half a teaspoon of salt to about 1.5 ounces of vinegar. Do that. It's plenty to be able to dip the Q-tip in there and put it on there. And if you're going to use the Q-tip method, what you're going to do is you're just going to dab it for about 1 second each as you're working around that maker's mark, if it's larger than the size of the cotton Q-tip that you're using. Or you can just sit there, and if it's the size of the Q-tip, you can just hold it down for 1 second, release, down for 1 second, release, and you're going to do that for about 20 seconds. So that's plenty to be able to actually etch in your maker's mark and be able to go that route. But guys, that's pretty much how I use these particular chemicals and things to acid etch or etch things, and hopefully that has helped clear, you know, a little bit of the confusion on some of the ways that I etch and some of the things that I use to etch things with things on steel. Now, that's pretty much the end of the acid etching, acid stuff part of this one. Now, I do want to show y'all something that I am working on for a video that's going to be coming out, and I do want y'all to know that the chopper knife is going to be coming out within, we'll probably start that, because that's going to be a series that I break into sections. We'll probably release that first video within the week, and within the week I mean probably next week. One of the videos I'm going to release this week is working on this knife right here, which is a really cool knife. This still needs its handle scales, but a little something unique versus what I've made in the past, and I really like it. So we've got, this is acid etched, stone washed, and has my maker's mark built in there that was etched as well. But something really unique that I'm excited to show y'all, and that video is going to be a start to finish video, a complete build. It's not going to be broken into sections, so you'll actually be able to watch the whole entire process in one video. Now, guys, that's pretty much what we have working. Of course, this week I'm also going to be showing y'all the cut test and slice test with the Camp Chef's knife. We are going to be cutting meat with it. We're going to be using my my fire pit, and we're going to be doing all kinds of different things in that video. It's going to be awesome, so just be looking out for that one. Guys, for the viewer's knife section on this one, I'm actually really excited about this one, and I really want to work with this wood. Hopefully I can get some from the guy who actually made this knife. I know he lives in Australia, so it might not be super easy. We got to figure out what it's going to be law-wise to be able to get it sent here. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to cut away so that we can actually see his knife full screen, you know, the whole entire section here. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut away now. Now, the maker of this knife was Justin Kirkgard, and hopefully I pronounced that name right. Justin, if you see this, go in the comment section and make sure I pronounce that right. Now, this is his fourth knife. It is made out of 1084 steel. The pins are brass, the lander tube is brass, and the handle on this is a piece of quilla wood or quilla wood. I don't know how to pronounce that exactly, so again, Justin, if you're seeing this, go ahead and tell us how to pronounce that wood. I would love to work with this wood. I think it is absolutely beautiful, so maybe I'll be able to get me some of that. So it is coated in boiled linseed oil and turned out absolutely awesome. I love the profile of this knife. Absolutely beautiful. Alright guys, so what did y'all think about that knife? Now, Justin told me that he primarily uses a 4x36 to make his knives and other hand tools that he has or he's made. That's absolutely awesome. I love seeing stuff like that. And guys, y'all tell Justin what you think about his knife. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, but I'm pretty sure he would like to hear what y'all think as well. Now, guys, if you haven't sent me any submissions for the viewer's knife, go ahead and do that. I don't care if it's your first knife, 5th knife, or 100th knife. I would love to see them. And one of the things that I'm looking for is I want to have some people send me a picture of their first knife and then their current project that they're working on to see that growth in their skill set. So I would love to see that in the emails. It's going to be pretty cool. I would love to be able to show those off and things like that. And if you're wondering where to send them to, the email is in the description below. Go ahead, send me a picture of those, and I would love to see them. And I know everybody else would as well. Now, I'm going to talk about something, and I'm going to talk about it for a few videos. I don't know how long, but it's going to be for a while. Guys, in this particular section of the video, this is where I would love to talk about people who have sent me things to use on the channel. You know, we've got Corey Scott, who sent this wood right here, plus the wood that's on the Camp Chef's knife, and the steel that's going to be used for that huge chopper that we're working on that's a 1/4 inch thick. Now, I would love to show that stuff off. I would love to use it on the channels and be able to actually get your name out there. So if you would, send me an email, and understand that my P.O. box is in the description below. If you want to send me something for me to use on the channel, just send me an email and say, hey man, I saw that you have this channel and I would love to send you blank for you to try and use on your channel. And I'll go ahead and do that. Plus, make sure you leave your Etsy page, your website, any of those things in the email so that I can post them in the description below. I'm not looking for affiliate links. I'm not looking for any kickback on anything like that. I would just like to get my viewers and the people who are fellow creators who follow me, I would love to get their name out there and actually try and help build y'all up. So let's do it, man. Let's go ahead and team up and see what we can do with y'all stuff on this channel. It's like a mini collaboration. It's like a collaboration that actually we both get something out of it. I get to create something with what you make, plus you get the traffic from people going and checking your stuff out, which is what I'm looking forward to. And I love creating things, and I would love to actually have people's names attached to the things that I create other than just me. So I think it's pretty awesome. Hopefully y'all do too. And Corey, thank you for starting this process and doing that. And I will have a link in the description for Corey's Etsy page. Y'all go check it out. If y'all want some sweet scales, y'all want some of this absolute beautiful stuff that he does, guys, y'all gotta go check it out. Now, that's pretty much the end of this one. If y'all would, give this video a thumbs up, share this video or one of my other videos, and if you haven't yet, bottom corner, hit that subscribe button so you get notified for when we use all this stuff, plus whenever the video for this comes out, and then the chopper that we're gonna be working on. Guys, thank y'all for coming by. Thank y'all for spending your time with me. Y'all have an amazing day. I'll catch y'all next time.